Record. Share screen. Share screen 2. Okay. Moving on. So okay, so H is distal right there, and then I is medial, and J is lateral. J, and then K and L. I feel like that's easier. K is superior, and then L is inferior.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like that's easy to remember. Only because it's like up in the chain, you're superior, and then down in the chain, you're inferior. I don't know, that my brain works weird.
No, that's a good way to remember for sure.
But yeah. Okay, so
I think he meant to do L for inferior.
oh, you are right. L. That's all of them, right? It's all the way to L.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yay. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, okay, so I feel like this chapter, or at least if you've taken biology and you remember, is just a refresher. I know for sure I totally forgot about like these right here and cartilage.
That was the stuff I didn't know. I had like no clue about the tissue stuff, but it was cool to learn about.
Yeah,
It was too
I
much.
remember learning it, but I don't remember like the details. But yeah, I do agree. I feel like this would be very easy to remember. You know, N, nervous system, M, muscle.
You know what's funny? The only one I remember somewhat, not of what it is per se, but I remember ligaments because there's a song from Schoolhouse Rock where it's like a whole song about anatomy and the guy's like ligaments. And so I always remember it that way.
That was old times. But yeah, I feel like something that we may need to memorize is like all of this and this, because I feel like that's very important because it has to do with speech, communication, language. But yeah, that's it for this module. Moving on to 104. So for this one, I feel like it was pretty straightforward. It was just like introduction to speech and language development. Again, this was something that we learned last semester. I wish there was a like little read and review section where it's like this will be on the quiz like last semester, but there isn't.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know like
What to study for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what do I do?
I mean, it says pay attention to the highlighted terms, so I think that's definitely something to look at.
There's so many.
Right.
I tried asking her about what would be exactly on the quiz, and I didn't hear anything from her, from the instructor I have. I know we have different instructors, but anyway, yeah.
Maybe I should email. Yeah, I'm trying to get all my stuff done by Friday because my kid has soccer games on Saturday.
Okay, so for the vocabulary, I feel like for sure speech, language, communication, comprehension, reception, formulation, transmission, no transmission. Yeah. What are the four? Comprehension, formulation, transmission?
Submission.
The four things of communication.
And reception.
I feel like for sure, oh, it's right there, duh, Sabrina. I feel like those vocabulary where it's like we need to know, which is good because we already know. Shaping and chaining, I feel like that's another one that we need to know. Zone of proximal development. Again, something that we need to know. Reinforcement and punishment. She didn't really go into too much detail into that. But let me see.
But maybe we could just kind of look it up.
Yeah.
Reinforcement and punishment, I think.
And then mirror neurons. I didn't understand this at all. I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, that doesn't really help either. Well, we could look that up right now, but let's go to Okay, reinforcement, any consequence after the behavior that increases the likelihood of the behavior will occur again. And then punishment, a consequence after a behavior that increases the likelihood the behavior will decrease. Okay, like that I don't get. So like,
so maybe like a reinforcement would be, I'm trying to think. I have my little one that's 2 years old. I would have to gotta find a way to make him, like, if he's getting something he's not supposed to. And I don't know. I had it and I lost it.
no worries. Because
Sorry.
I'm just like, I don't understand this. And then I read the chapter and I didn't see it on the chapter either. Did you guys see these two terms on the chapter?
No.
Olivia, you're muted.
Oh, whoops. I didn't realize that. No, sorry. I was just trying to say, yeah, reinforcement and punishment. Basically with reinforcement, think about,
Is it
you know,
something like
like
positive?
yeah, there's different types of reinforcement, positive and
That's what I
negative
was gonna-
reinforcement.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was
so the more famous one that we know of is positive reinforcement. That's like when you're
Yeah.
at the zoo and you see the zookeeper with an animal and the animal does something that they want. So like they respond to the training, right? The zookeeper
Oh.
then reinforces the animal positively with a, you know, fish
Treat
or,
or
with some sort of
fish.
treat. Yeah, I'm thinking of penguins. That's why fish.
Okay.
So
But yeah, it's so that way it will repeat that behavior again, the desired behavior specifically.
okay, so it's basically like, okay, when like, is it like doing a task or like a behavior where like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done, and then they do it and they're like, good job, and then you give them a treat.
It's
And
one
like,
that it's one that you want to happen again.
okay,
It's something positive.
and then
Okay, that's what I was
punishment.
thinking.
Okay,
So
and then
it could be like a good consequence, because it did say any consequence after a behavior that increases that likely that the behavior will occur again. So that's talking in a positive way.
okay, and then
Mhm.
punishment will be like something
Like
they did something and you're like, no, don't do that. And then
or
they're like, oh
Yeah.
crap, I'm not supposed to do that. I just got in trouble, and then they won't do it
or
again.
put him like a
Mhm.
timeout. Okay, you go a timeout so you don't do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or take
Now-
5 or take a breath or something.
Yeah. Now I will say there's technically positive and negative for both of these. We aren't exactly covering this, but mainly the difference is with positive, you are adding something. You're adding a stimulus.
Right.
So, for
Okay.
example, we talked about earlier, you're giving someone a treat. Negative would be if you are taking something away to get to either increase
Or
or to decrease something.
Okay.
So negative
Alright.
punishment is what we usually see because you're taking away like someone's TV privilege.
Right.
So they don't do whatever they did again. That's a
And then-
negative punishment.
And then a positive punishment would be adding something that isn't necessarily like, oh, like for example, when I was a teenager, I got punished by doing extra chores. Like that would be positive punishment by adding
that-
something.
wait,
No, you wouldn't be adding something. Punishment's always
Negative.
getting rid of
Oh,
something.
negative, yeah.
Okay, I didn't
Then-
know that. I thought there was
Yeah.
like two different ones. Like,
Well, positive, you can have one where it's increased, but it's like adverse kind of thing. So
okay.
it's like, if you don't want someone to do something again, you could spritz like your cats. You know how you have all those cats? So you're adding something, that's the positive part, but it's a punishment because you want to make sure that the cat isn't scratching you all over.
like my son, when he goes to soccer, like the way he does really good is like he always asks for ice cream. So if he blocks so many goals, like, oh well, I covered 5 goals, can I get ice cream? So we tell him good job, but sometimes we will go get him when he has like a really good game that we know he put his all. We're like, okay, we're gonna get you like good job for your game. We're gonna go take you get an ice cream.
Okay.
So the positive improvement would be telling him, clapping, cheering him up, and like saying good job for doing a great, like hustling out there in the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Plus on
that's
top of it,
that's
we're
like
just adding a
reinforcement
treat.
stuff.
That's like a reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement. Yeah.
Positive.
But positive punishment is like if you are spritzing a cat, for example, the positive part is adding a stimulus. So that's the spritzing water. And the
Oh,
punishment
okay.
is stopping the cat from scratching you because that's an undesired behavior.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Okay, makes sense, makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, shaping and chaining. So this was something where like as soon as I read it, it clicked. So like shaping would be having the child like if they start speech or like a type of behavior where it's like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to, let's
It's kind of
say,
like, look at the picture that it has there, it's molding into something. So if you think about it, you're molding the child what you want it, model the child you want it to be, to help the child. So you shape, and then it makes it a shape, whatever it
and
is
you
gonna come up
practice
to.
that, and
Yes.
you have them, you help them practice until it evolves to where it's supposed to be where you want it to be. And then chaining is like, okay, well, it's going to be a sequence where it's like, you know what, I'm going to teach you how to wash your hands. So I am molding the child to wash their hands, but also teaching them the steps of washing the hands, because it's just not wash hands and that's it. No, they got to get up the step, wash your hands with soap and water, and like, clean between the fingers, on the back of the hand, your nails, like scrub it. That would be chaining, because you are having them
Model and show him how it, or like when you potty training them as well, that you have to like put your chonies down, sit down, wait till you go pee, or if it's a boy, aim it, and then put your chonies back up. If it's a girl, wipe, and then when you're done, grab the step stool. So you have to show all those little details.
Yeah, so these two, I think they correspond with each other, especially when communicating, like teaching them how to talk. But yeah, they're different, but they correspond with each other.
Why is it that it works in the schools? Like when I worked at the preschool, everything, like we had a lot of training as well, and everything in the training, it worked. But when I tried it on my kid, never worked.
Because
it was the opposite.
Because you're mommy, that's why. And it's like, oh, it's a mom. But if it's someone else, where it's like, oh, if I do this, like I'm gonna be seen as a good kid because it's a stranger,
Yeah, I know,
that's how it is with the twins. Like, at school, Ethan is like a model student. He does all this, and like when I heard that, I'm like, him, a model student, him. Oh, but yeah.
It's like, are you sure you're talking about the same? I know.
Yeah, I'm like, are you sure we're talking about the same child? Because, but yeah, anyways, I feel like it's more of a relative authority figure, like,
and selective.
There you go. But yeah, social interaction theory. No. Okay, so this one was very interesting for me because I had no idea what the zone of proximal development is, and basically it is between what the learner cannot do by themselves, but they can do with guidance and support from a knowledgeable person.
Yep.
So
that's basically the SLP and then us, right?
To me it was like that. And
that's a funny way to think of it, but yeah.
But yeah, so like let's say a child is able to put on their clothes by themselves. However, they have trouble tying their shoe. So if you go in there like, okay, this is how you do it, and you like have them do the first step by themselves because it's super easy, like just have both of them cross and then one of them go under. But when it's tying the bow, I think that's where it's like, okay, that's when some like that, I feel like that is zone of proximal development right there. Like, that's how I saw it. This was really interesting. The link, I read this whole thing and I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So
Vygotsky was a genius. He
Yes.
really knew his stuff.
yeah, and I feel like this is something that I would not mind reading and writing a paper about.
Oh,
But
we had in Dev Psych, we had to do stuff like that. We had to talk about
um,
Vygotskyan theory, Piagetian stuff, all sorts of
um,
things. Because there were people who had theories like the nativist and naturalist stuff, but they were called different things and were more about Dev Psych rather than like language and speech and communication.
Yeah.
A little bit different, but I do remember learning that term, and yeah, it's
yeah.
very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I felt like this was really cool. I did enjoy learning this. But yeah, again, this is something like learner can do without any help. Like basically they could do by themselves. Learner cannot do at all. And then the middle is like what they can do with help.
Guide help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even an SLP needs the help of the CPA to
Mhm.
get some of the workload off of
So
them too.
so the child would be in the middle and we would be the guidance for them basically.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, you have main four processes of communication: formulation, transmission, reception. Comprehension, formulation, and comprehension is language, transmission is speech, and reception is hearing. For me, the way that I like rememberize like which one was language, speech, and hearing is transmission is you talking, so speech, and then reception is you receiving the information, hearing, and then formulation and comprehension are both language.
We already went
Formulation,
that one
yeah.
over from last year,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
Mhm.
formulation is you formulating what like the sentence in your brain, transmission is speaking, reception is having the person hear it, and then comprehension is them comprehending what you just said. Like, okay, you said this, but yeah. And again, all of this is just a recap from module 1 from last semester, actually. But yeah, and then, hey, not right now. I'm in the middle of something. Oh no, please go. Thank you. And then speech communication, again, this is something, a recap from last semester.
Yeah, modality.
Yeah. And yeah, the speech
That
change.
also, we had that one too.
Again, I feel like this module is very easy for us because again, it's mostly just a
refresher.
Yeah, just a refresher.
We didn't go through the speech chain though. No. But yeah, it's kind of like what we were just covering, but more in depth.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna go more in depth on this.
Yeah, within the speaker's brain, the speaker formulates an idea, again, formulation, and then the idea is put into language. So that's how formulation is language. The brain, the motor strip, plans a sequence of movements necessary to express so basically your brain is sending the movements to your mouth or to your oral cavity. And then the third one is the movement of speech executed by the oral mechanism, again, your oral cavity, and then the articulation, the articulators, the main articulators, and then movement is the sound waves, and then the sound waves are transmitted to the ear, and that's where reception comes in, and then the sound waves transform the message that is interpreted by the listener's brain. So then the last one's comprehension. So I feel like the first one is formulation, the second one is no, the third one is transmission, the fifth one is no. Oh god, I'm missing myself up. Hold up. Okay, so the first one's formulation. I feel like it's the third one that's transmission. The fifth one is reception, and then the last one is comprehension. So you're just missing 2 and 4.
2
So
would be formulation. and-
formulation.
Yeah,
that's
and
what I was
4 would be
thinking.
part of transmission.
I was thinking the exact same thing. So then the first 2 is formulation, 3 and 4 would be transmission, 5 reception, and then the last one comprehension. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. I mean, I feel like this will be on the quiz. Is this the one that we have a quiz on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I feel like this will be on the quiz, but then
Oh
again,
yeah.
it's
I'm
kind of
sure it will
like
be.
I feel like it's super easy though, because it's just basically like, well, no duh, kind of like, oh, like we know how speech works because of the last module or last semester, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But yeah. I mean, as long as you understand it, we're good. Kathy, do you have any questions? You've been kind of quiet.
Well,
You're
yeah,
muted.
didn't-
You're muted, Kathy. Kathy, you're muted.
Can she hear us?
No, Kathy, you're muted. You're still muted. You're still muted. I can't hear you.
I just typed to let her know.
Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Okay, now
Yeah.
I can hear you.
No, I can hear you. No, because I thought when you push the space bar, it allows me to speak. I'm sorry.
No,
You're
you
good.
have to like.
No,
yeah.
I'm being quiet. I'm taking it all in, but I'm also shell shocked because I'm thinking to myself about this discussion that I didn't realize that I had to submit something by tonight. And
Oh, you mean which one? Because
one
there's
that's
more than
for
one.
104, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
The
for all those
do it.
discussions, the post is due Thursday, but the replies are due Sunday.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't even realize. So I'm just kind of taking everything you guys have to say. I'm just kind of taking it all in. But when
Okay.
everybody's kids are popping up, yeah, I need to call the dogs in here. We need to get the dogs on the scene. Because I don't
No.
have
Yeah.
kids, but I have puppies. So I can bring my puppies in the room. It has a
I
puppy
have
sense.
4 boys, so and a dog.
But
I'm
yeah,
dying to have
no,
a dog.
it's because I was just making sure because you've been muted and I'm like, oh God, I hope she's not asking any questions because we can't hear her.
No, I'm
She's-
good. I'm good.
She's
Thanks.
comprehending what we're saying. The sound waves are coming to her ear and she's
I'm good.
interpreting what we're saying.
Receiving
good.
our information and
Yeah.
comprehending the module now. But yeah, I feel no, I'm just making sure. But anyways, yeah, just this is kind of, I mean, again, it's like, oh, that's that's how speech works. That's how speech works. Disruptions of the speech chain. So basically it's like hearing defect, like having a hearing disorder. Perception and processing impairments can impact comprehension. Abnormalities of the oral mechanism, so basically like a cleft lip or cleft palate. And yeah, again, this is basically like disorders that we learned last semester.
Wait, go back one slide. Why does it say structural anomalies of the oral mechanism can impact production rather than transmission? I guess they just mean the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
production, transmission.
Yeah.
Yeah. This cat is totally mean when someone is talking too much and you can't leave, so you just sit there and I slowly stare off into space where I'm like, wait, what was that there? What did she say? I just nod and agree. I'm like, yes. So you have the 4 principles of effective communication. So this is something where to have good and efficient communication, you have quantity, quality, relevance, and manner. Manner is pace, the pitch, the loudness, the eye gaze, appropriate eye contact. Relevance is maintain the topic, so staying on topic, not going, basically like Doug from Up, where he's talking, he's like squirrel. And then the quality is the accurate the accuracy, and then the truthful, and then quantity is using the correct and right amount of information. And then I feel like this is also important. We are quick to notice when an individual violates one of these principles. It's not complicated, it's complex. But yes, that's how communication is. It's complex, not complicated.
Something
yeah.
like that.
Something to that degree. But yeah, again, I feel like this module was a bit easy only because it was
Don't you like
just a
that?
refresher on some of the vocabulary words, a refresher. But you know, zone of proximal, is that what it's called?
Proximal development. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that was something new and very interesting. Again, I enjoyed reading that article. But yeah, that is it for this module.
The Vodosky one, I'm gonna look into it. I haven't got to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop recording though, but